Welcome, everybody, to episode 30 of Survival Jobs, a podcast in collaboration with BroadwayWorld. My name is Samantha Tuozzolo.
And I'm Jason A. Coombs, and we are very excited to be here with you all here on BroadwayWorld.
Yes, we're so excited. Jason, tell me how you're feeling. We had a week.
Yeah, well, first, I have to acknowledge what happened in Brooklyn yesterday as we were recording this. The shooting, which is, of course, super, super sad and tragic. But
Horrible.
I guess the only good thing is that no lives were lost. I found out today.
Yeah.
But just horrible. And I feel like it's just a sad way to start the podcast, right? But
I know. But as like both of us, we have to acknowledge it. And as both of us, like who have lived, currently live in New York, I know for me, I have played that scenario in my head so many times when I'm on a very packed subway because you can't go anywhere. You're on the car, you're in the train, the doors are closed. Yeah. And I always was like, what would I do? Like, should something crazy happen? Like, what's my game plan? And so I just sending like love and prayers and strength to everybody that was on that car or on that platform, because that is not something you wake up the next day being like, okay about or ever. So
yeah. Super tragic and traumatizing. So as you said, sending lots of love to everyone and, people just in New York, right? Because that must be scary to have to go back out in the world again the next day,
Yeah.
How unfortunate.
Yeah. And it just makes me sad for like New York in general. Like it feels like New York can never like catch a break. Like something always is happening, and most COVID cases, like all, you know what I mean? It's always like something.
Yes.
So like love to all the New Yorkers. And
for sure.
I know.
Well, onto a lighter note,
not to take a turn.
A very
hard turn.
But we had a wonderful celebration this past weekend of season 2, our season 2 launch party with BroadwayWorld.
Amazing time. As you can hear, I still don't have a voice 3 days later because I think I was just so excited and I pushed myself a little too hard and I have no voice, but like what a night. And for me, I don't know about for you, Jay, but like to have multiple of our guests in one space, past and future guests, that was really cool. And to see like our guests chatting and like networking with each other, it was like, oh, we did this, like we made this. And I think that was really like such a cool moment.
For sure. And having so many people support, so many people who wanted to be there, who wanted to celebrate with us, who believe in us. And I mean, we have to shout out Nicole for helping us organize this all. Nicole from BroadwayWorld.
We love you, Nicole. Thank you for bringing us on. We're so happy. Yeah.
And, Crystal was there and Robin and Mary McGowan, like so many people from season 1.
Yeah. Allison, Psycho.
Yup. Our future guest, Chris Cafaro, Bly. Like there's so many people, and they just like showed up and showed out. They're on the red carpet looking stunning.
Stunning. And shout out to Catherine, the photographer that came. She took so many stunning pictures and she was so amazing. So yeah, it was just a really great night, and I'm so grateful that we got to do it.
So what you've been watching anything good recently? Reading anything good?
You know what? I'm in this final season of This Is Us. We're in the final season of This Is Us. I've been watching since day one. My old acting coach, Susan Kelechi Watson, is on the show, which is the only reason I ever shout out to Susan. One day, Susan, come on the podcast. Because I was a part of her survival job. She was my acting coach, right? So I think that would be a really cool like episode. But regardless, that's why I started watching the show 6 years ago, because I was like, oh my God, Susan's on this. But it actually is such an amazing show. But they're in the final season. So I've been keeping up with that every week. And I'm not doing any spoilers for anyone who's behind, but there's some like big like character stories, plot twists that are like I watched last night's episode this morning, and I was sobbing. Actually, sobbing. So
every episode makes me sob. I'm so behind though.
Oh, good. I'm happy I didn't spoil anything because there's some
No, I'm so behind.
Yeah. Don't look at the internet. Don't follow the Instagram because it'll spoil some real big shocking moments. I bought a play at the drama bookshop a few weeks ago, and I have it right here. So let's look at it.
Yes,
It's
drama
called
bookshop.
How to Make Friends and Kill Them by Haley Pfeiffer. I don't know anything about it. I just literally skimmed through it and I was like, oh, this looks like a good play. And so I bought it, but it's been sitting in my bag. But so I have every intention to read that, but I haven't yet.
Well, it's on your
that's
list.
pretty much it. It's on my list. How about you, Jay? Do you have a survival job story to share?
Oh, I don't.
Got it.
I want to talk about Abbott Elementary. That was what I want to talk about.
Okay. Talk about something artistic, and we'll table survival jobs.
Have you
no
seen
idea.
it?
I have no idea what it is.
Well, you like the drama. You like the drama, the heavy lifting,
I love heavy
crying, the heavy lifting acting, the crying,
the drama.
You live for the drama. But Abbott Elementary is on ABC or Hulu, and it's a workplace comedy similar to like The Office or like Parks and Rec, and it's hilarious. Like the cast is so funny. It's about this woman who's like a teacher, and she's like in her second year, and she's like a newer teacher who wants to make the school better, and she teaches at a school called Abbott Elementary. It's in an inner city. Quinta Brown, I believe her name is. She's like the writer, creator. What happened?
Is this the girl? You know that video that was viral, and she started
viral.
He got money.
Yeah.
Oh, large. Get it all for him. That's her, right?
I believe that's her. Yeah.
Yes. I've been meaning to watch this. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Robin was telling me about this actually also because I'm like, you're saying all this. I'm like, I've heard this before. What is this?
Yeah. And Broadway legend Cheryl Lee Ralph is in it, who was in the original Dreamgirls and who played Moesha's mom. And she's so funny. The whole cast is great. And it's like very heartwarming. If you're a teacher, like I have some friends that are teachers, and it says it resonates very deeply with them, how true it is and how they take something that's, kind of heavy, but they put a funny little twist on it and it makes you laugh and has a lot of heart. So I recommend that for sure. And they just had a season finale, which I got to catch up on. Yeah.
Oh, good. Good to know. I definitely will. When I take like a beat for myself, I'll definitely check it out.
I know it's good when you like had a long day, you want something light on, you're not trying to cry, those heavy tears.
Yeah, the heavy lifting.
The heavy lifting of the dramas.
Remember when I was like, Jason, do you have a survival job story to share? And you're like, not today.
No, I wasn't planning. I will share a quick story.
Okay.
I used to work at the Highline Ballroom.
Shout out.
And shout out to, well, not there anymore.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. But one day we were setting up. So I worked in the front as a host. And I did coach check or whatever. And one day we're setting up. We're getting ready for, I think it was a private event that night. And anyway, we're like setting up or whatever. Like there's people from the event like inside the main room setting up or whatever. And all of a sudden, Gilbert Gottfried walked in.
Oh my God.
R.I.P. Yeah. He like walked in and I was like, what? I was just so confused. I was like, why is he? I was like, is he like here for the event? Like maybe he's like the special guest.
Oh gosh.
So, we were like, hey, can we help you? Do you need to speak to like the person running the party? He's like, no. He just like he just walked inside. We're like, oh, okay. That's like pretty normal. Like,
yeah, come on
he's
in.
A celebrity.
Yeah.
And then
major celebrity.
Yeah. I told the manager that Gilbert Gottfried was there, and he was like, "Oh, why?" And I was like, "I don't know." I'm just a worker. I'm just the host.
A worker.
He's like, well, he's not scheduled to be here. So anyway, he goes to find Gilbert Gottfried, who was like chilling in the green room. And long story short, he was at the wrong venue. He was somewhere else. But on the way out, he was like, "Oh, sorry about that, everybody." He was so kind and so like generous, and it was just a nice memory. And yeah, so R.I.P. to him because he passed away.
That was so sad.
I know.
That's so sad. I'm crying that he was just at the wrong venue.
Yeah. It was very cute.
And then he went to the green room.
It was just like chilling up there.
You think he was eating the hummus platter?
Oh, probably. I mean, I would.
That hummus platter was good at Highline. I do want to say, not a lot of things were super good there, but that hummus platter was kind of lit.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, Samantha, I think we should get into our guest, right?
Yeah, let's
Hunter
do it.
Burke. And I was wearing this T-shirt today for Hunter because I'm a huge Scream fan.
Yes, you are.
when this is Woodsboro High is from Scream, but then I remembered Hunter was on Scream season 2 of the TV show, and it was a whole different town. It was at the Lakewood High School, so I kind of failed on that part.
But you're like, it's the thought that counts. It's the thought that counts. Yeah,
the thought that counts. So Hunter, when you watch this, I was trying to bring that good Woodsboro juju, Scream juju
Come
to
on,
this.
Hunter.
But, anyway, should we talk about him?
Yeah, I'm so excited for everyone to hear this episode. He was so lovely to chat with and so sweet and genuine. And it's always nice. Yeah, it's always nice to talk to artists who are so kind and supportive, and this industry is all about lifting everyone up. And he said some really great kind words to us once we stopped recording. So I just want to like shout out to like, sometimes the industry knocks us down, and like there are, you know, cringy people. I guess that's my word of the season, cringy.
Yeah,
there are cringy people in the industry, as in any industry, right? So when you find like a good egg, like a successful one too, it's just it's so nice. So let's tell everyone a little bit about him and get into this episode, unless you would like to share something, Jason.
No, I was just gonna say, you know, I'm a huge fan of Sweet Magnolias, which is where I discovered Hunter. He plays Trotter, who's one of my favorite characters, and he's just so kind. And you know, while we were editing, while we were preparing to talk to him, and you know, getting that ready, I was like watching some clips and just reminding myself of like him, and you know what his character's about, and watching the interview back again after talking to him, he's so much like that character, right? He's so genuine and kind and thoughtful, and he knows like the right things to say. And I don't know, I was just like, I don't think he had to do much acting there. He's just very naturally like that, from what I can tell of spending an hour with him recently.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll tell you guys a little bit about him, and then we'll jump right into the episode.
Sure.
Okay, Hunter Burke was born in South Louisiana during the only World's Fair exposition to ever declare bankruptcy during its run. After ultimately deciding that farming sugarcane was not his preferred career path, he wrote, produced, and acted in the feature film Lost Bayou, which had its world premiere at the 2019 Tribeca Film Festival.
An alumnus of the 2016 Blacklist Screenwriting Lab and the 2020 Sundance Film Festival Talent Forum, as well as a quarterfinalist for the 2021 Nickel Fellowship, Hunter can more recently be seen in front of the camera, recurring in the Netflix original series Sweet Magnolias. These days, he spends his free time restoring a mint green 1965 Pontiac. Oh God! You said you're the one that always messes up, and here I am.
That's why I practiced today. I was like, "Let me read this." Make sure
I thought I read it too, but okay, messed that up. Anyway, these days he spends his free time restoring a mint green 1965 Pontiac Catalina and staring pensively at the damned beautiful sugarcane field, vowing never to go back to those majestic swaying stalks ever again. Love him. Such a great storyteller.
Mint green car though sounds fierce. Like that's the kind of car I think I would like to rock.
I mean, he's pretty fierce, so look at that.
Let's go. Let's listen. All right. Enjoy, everyone.
Cool.
Hi, Hunter.
Hey, guys.
Welcome to Survival Jobs. We do that every time, Jason.
I know, you think after 20-something episodes we get it right. But.
We like get the groove, but that's okay. I guess that could be our shtick.
I love it. It's kind of a sneak attack. It's the gentle way in. It's nice.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, ease in. We're so happy to have you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us.
It is an honor to talk to y'all about survival jobs. A subject near and dear, close to my heart. So
same. That's why we made this thing, because we were like, hey, this is crazy what we do. Let's talk about it with everyone.
Truly.
Yeah. And kind of we were like, we don't want to go back either. We want to like figure out how we can get to that next level. So we're gonna just pick your brain as much as we can.
I hope there's something in there, because these days it doesn't feel like there's anything.
COVID brain is real.
Oh my gosh.
In so many ways.
Even before that, it was just there. So
just use COVID brain like going forward. Right. So then it's like a good excuse.
I'm going to put that on my resume, like COVID brain at the bottom. So if I go up on a line, some forgiveness.
That's good. Yeah. That's definitely good.
Well, let's kick it off, right? Can you share a story or an experience from a survival job that you've had that has positively impacted your wonderful career?
Gosh, I mean, they all. This is kind of a broad, sweeping statement, but I worked in the service industry for a long time, and I think that I don't know if this is related to acting so much as it is just being a person. That will really kind of provide a great perspective into the world. I mean, you wait on so many people, you serve everybody, you get to meet people from all different strata of the society, and it really, I think, broadens your knowledge on who's out there and what they're doing and who their lives are. And I think, for better or for worse, you kind of get a really nice introspection into humanity that you can draw from in both your work, but also how you like to be perceived, as well as what you put out into the world. I don't know. It was always, I used to bartend at a place in New Orleans, and it was always really fascinating who would come in, and it was, the best part was always setting up conversations about where you're from, who you're with, what's your life like, essentially all of the things we do as actors, setting up the stakes and building out character. Like, they're giving this information away for free. And
sure.
It's essentially the go, sit on a park bench and watch people watch. I mean, you kind of get to do this up close and personal, and it's not weird if you're asking someone leading questions about who they are or how willing they are to engage in conversation. And then it also provides you with, just a better view of how to treat people because of how people treat you. I think everybody, and this is nothing new, but I think everybody in the world should at least wait tables for a month, because it really gives you perspective on everything. And just because you're a server, it doesn't mean, you're any less of a member of society. And it's, I don't know, it's the chip on my shoulder. And so now I go into restaurants, and it's just the perspective that I've always, feel like I needed as a human. And maybe that's not as specific as I probably should be getting, but those ideas.
No, it's great.
It's in-depth character work that, when I was at a loss for decisions about acting, specifically character decisions, I could always pull from someone who sat at the bar, or, a couple that I'd seen. And that kind of stuff is elemental to what we do when we're creating characters and designing art and, recreating the world in, paint or word or image. So I say that one, I'm very grateful for that. And all the jobs that I figured out that I didn't want to do led me to being an actor, like working in a sugarcane field.
That's the next question. What are the worst ones?
Yeah. I mean, it's in the elements. I worked in a sugarcane field when I was younger with my dad. And I mean, this was, teens.
Louisiana?
In Louisiana.
Wow.
Just real rural farm. My dad is connected to a lot of that land, was connected to a lot of that land out there. And so we'd go and, help cousins and uncles who weren't really our cousins or uncles. And, it was kind of like the early days of the allowance, and really the work ethic got sunk in out there, because I was, no joke, hard, back-breaking work. And it really helped me focus on what I wanted to do in life, because I knew I didn't want to do that.
And it's like probably so hot.
That's the other thing. You do some of the planting in the summer, because you harvest in October or in the fall, late fall. So it was like, all right, the humidity in Louisiana is unrivaled, maybe, except for, I mean, that's not true. The humidity is terrible anywhere near the equator, but specifically in Louisiana is awful.
Where in Louisiana? Not that I know much, but.
So I grew up in a small town called Broussard, Louisiana.
Is that near Lafayette?
It is, and I usually say Lafayette, but and you're saying it right. That's the crazy thing.
We
say
Lafayette.
Samantha.
Thank you.
Samantha, you're saying it right, because it's funny, because people in Lafayette say Lafayette. I don't know why. There's a huge Cajun French population down there, but they don't say the name of the city right for some reason. But yeah, it's a small town right outside of Lafayette. Rural farming, humidity, mosquitoes, all the good things.
All the good things.
I have a friend that lives in Lafayette, or whatever, and we did a swamp tour. I don't know what it was called, maybe a swamp tour. So I feel that, like, the mosquitoes, like the gators.
It's true. And a lot of my childhood was spent out in that, like, swampland, because that was kind of the lakes that we would have, like, a pontoon boat or a party barge, and we would go out and we would see the tourists, on the the swamp tours, and we're, you know, swimming and skiing in it. And people are like, what the hell is wrong with these people? They're in the middle of the bayou. And it really is. It's the muddiest water. It's, you know, luckily the gators or snakes never really got too close.
Luckily.
Yeah. Luckily it'd be a very different story. I might have missing a finger. It's like, I had a snake.
I love that.
That was believable. Good work. Good acting.
Thanks. I've been working on it.
Yeah.
Might give it a try.
Like, let's see what it's going to look like. I do just want to give a quick shout out to my friend Ariel. She's the only reason I have any knowledge about Louisiana. So thanks for the conversation.
Okay,
and the Gator tour.
What's Ariel's last name?
Ooh, Boutin. What if you know her?
I don't think I do.
Can you imagine?
Boutin?
Boutin, I think they say.
Boutin. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. We put a little French.
Yes. Ariel Boutin.
Boutin. There you go.
Yeah.
Shout out Ariel Boutin. I don't know her, but I'm sure she's wonderful.
But wouldn't that have been funny if you were like, oh my God, I grew up with her?
It's really small. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
We know somebody's mama and that mama connection.
Yeah.
I love that.
Somebody's auntie.
Anyway. Somebody's auntie. So good.
That's amazing. You're such a good storyteller. I was like, we're looking at your bio that you sent us, and I was like, it's just like really great. So I guess my question is, how old were you when you knew you wanted to be a storyteller, and like, what inspired you to want to pursue it?
Like yesterday, I woke up and I was like, you know, I'm kind of bored. I want to figure this out. No, I think, you know, I had a mom who you know, came from a very gregarious family of 6. I had a dad who came from a very gregarious, big Catholic families.
That's my dream, is to have 6 kids.
Really?
It might be 5. Yeah, you're never alone. I mean, you've always got friends, and I mean, it works out. But yeah,
wow, Jason, 6. I didn't know. We're learning a lot today. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, the family, my parents growing up, my dad was a politician and a joke teller, a storyteller. They were a family obsessed with movies. They were a family obsessed with telling stories. A big part of the culture down there is joke telling. And so that was kind of all rooted in the like nurture of things, and then the nature of the genetics coming from this kind of slightly askew artistic family. My great grandfather was a blind piano player, and he used to play for the silent films, and they would sync up to what the action was happening. You know, the old Charlie Chaplin before they had sound. He would play at the local theater, and that was the music accompaniment to the movie.
Wow, so, that's so cool. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, nepotism. So I mean, here you go. I'm where I am because of, you know, great grandpa Aunt Pat. But no, it was kind of all inherent early on. I was around it, and then when I started to get into grade school, did the plays. That was always something that was a thrill. Much like, you know, I feel like a lot of people have that experience too. When they're younger, they get into plays and they're like, I can skip class for this. Great.
Yeah.
And so
for sure,
I've just always been drawn to stories and storytellers, and I've always been a fan of it. And then when I realized that there was an opportunity to partake and to be involved with it, I think I really started to gravitate towards it. And it was, you know, like 7th, 8th grade, and in high school, I did the musicals because that was kind of the outlet at the time. And then in college, made it a point to, against my parents' wishes, go into the theater program at the university that I was going to. And I'm kidding. They were very supportive.
I was going to say, okay, we're taking a turn. We are taking a turn.
I have an older sister named Darcy, and she was a professional dancer. So 3.5 years ahead of me, she was paving the way for starving artists. So, you know, big ups to her.
Shout out to Darcy.
Shout out Darcy for paving the way and letting my folks know that their kids were going to be nuts.
Yeah, actually.
But yeah, I started to take it seriously, you know, in academia. And then I think it was always film. I always wanted to be in film. I was always obsessed with movies. We would watch them growing up religiously. We had a ritual of every Tuesday night. We would get cheeseburgers from Sonic, and we would watch, you know, the video from down the street, and everybody had a pick. So it was ritualized, and it was always something that was, you know, the kick of my childhood experience.
Oh my God.
And so when it came time to like actually put it into place, I had a support system that really encouraged me to do it. and then, had the accessibility to like a university, or in this case, it was the university, and then also the Louisiana Tax Incentive Program that brought a lot of films to Louisiana at that time. And so I was fortunate that a lot of things came together to allow me to do this. And I realized that's not the case with everyone. And so I'm very lucky and very fortunate that I had access to that. And it really kind of catered a way for me to go and do it. And so I started out acting, and then realized quickly that I had a lot of spare time in between my survival job.
Hey, always gotta bring it back to the survival job.
Bring it in, looking on the sides.
Yeah.
I realized that I had opportunity. I didn't always have the opportunity I wanted as far as acting. So I was like, okay, I need to Goodwill Hunting this and start writing the material that I want to be a part of. So found a writing partner in one of my best friends, and started, crafting stories and scripts specifically. And they were really bad at first. Got a lot of really bad stuff out of the way early on. And still getting it out of the way, to be quite honest. But knew that I wanted to create, to service the acting side of things, to create story, to write story. And then along the way, I realized that it also serviced my friends, because I was making films with my really talented filmmaker friends, and it became a communal experience. And that's really the key that I fell in love with. And that's central to why I still pursue this crazy business, is because there is such a camaraderie and a community involved with doing these things. Even if you're a hired gun for a day or two or a couple of months, there is a running away and joining the circus of technicians that are in love with it as much as you are. And every day you show up to work and you get to do it. And like that, like learning that evolution of what acting was, really has sustained me, through the tough times, more than anything. And so I think that was kind of the final key, is realizing it was such a communal effort, and it was an opportunity to be a part of something that wasn't just me. It was something creating a bigger and better picture of what the art could be, by involving everybody who was just as passionate, if not more, than myself. So
right, that just gave me chills, because that is part of the reason why I love it too, is because you're a part of something, and everyone's there because they love it. And so to be a part of something magical with people who also like love the magic. It's so fun, so beautiful.
Especially what you said about your friends, like making stuff with your friends. Like you had your tribe, you had your community right there too, and giving them opportunities, right?
Yeah, and really, they gave me opportunities. I think that's the long and short of it. But it is an excuse to hang out. I still write with my writing partner, who's one of my best friends, and it's just an excuse to shoot the stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. To play. That's so fun. So you fell in love with it. So then once you decided and did the thing, what was your journey like to get representation and to start like taking that next step?
Good question. Nepotism. Obviously, my grandfather, great-great-grandfather.
Great granddaddy.
I dug up the documents. He had a lot of that joke's gonna get real old if it hasn't already.
No, it's good. Keep it going.
We gotta put some piano music in, like.
That's right.
Yeah, Jason will have to edit it in.
No. It was kind of. It's interesting because I look back and it's kind of an interesting path, and I think one that's becoming more and more common. As I mentioned, right when I was in college, my desire was to go to New York or LA, whichever one. Specifically LA, because I think at that time I knew I wanted to do film. And then in the newspaper, it was like Louisiana Tax Incentive Program, bringing films to Louisiana. And so my dad showed me. Yeah, you're welcome. That's the Barker on the corner, by the way.
Perfect.
That's also the resume.
And then you'll put COVID brain next to it. Perfect.
That's right next to it. Special skills. No, I was in the right place at the right time when the Louisiana Film Incentive came into fruition, and I was able to capitalize. They started shooting films because they were getting a rebate. Productions were getting a rebate, and so either 3 or 4 films would come through a year. It's how it started, and then it grew to 10, and then TV shows started coming, and so I was able to capitalize on the industry blooming in Louisiana, and then eventually also blooming in Atlanta, North Carolina, South Carolina, the South really kind of figured out, the southern states and like the Gulf Coast, like rear Pacific area, started to really understand that they could attract film and ideally turn a profit because of it. And so they were shooting projects, and everybody was still figuring out the market. So agents were kind of more on the accepting side of things. I did a lot of extra work early on, a lot of extra work. Jeez. That's also akin to waiting tables. Kind of provides a great perspective on how everything works. Let's humble you.
Yeah.
Did a lot of stand-in work. Those were cool survival jobs too. Realistically, I was probably spending money because I would have to travel to where the production was, but it was hindsight, it was worth it.
You learn so much, right?
You do. And then it's a lot of the same people that I ended up making a film with years later.
Wow.
And so I think I was, again, kind of afforded this ability to work in a smaller market early on. And so kind of worked my way, got an agent just simply by, emailing a couple of the agents that were in Louisiana or Atlanta. It was that easy, which is ridiculous.
Right. Sometimes all you got to do is ask. That's been an ongoing theme on this podcast.
It's true. It's putting the effort out there and understanding what the directive is. Did extra work, day playing. I eventually worked my way up to having lines.
Lines,
which was a thrill. I highly recommend it to all actors.
I had no idea. I'll take that into consideration. Thank you so much.
I worked my way up to one line.
So appreciate it.
You got to memorize them.
You have to memorize them?
Yeah, I don't let you make them up.
Wow.
Well, not all.
Who knew?
No, but that. So in the last 15 years, I've been able to kind of cultivate a career working in the South, and in a way kind of start to parlay that into getting representation and getting seen out in Los Angeles and New York. And that, to be quite honest, is still kind of slow goings because there is a respect for the actors that go to New York and LA that I think casting has. For the people that are out there, in the trenches, you yourself, Samantha, and you, Jason, like you guys out there kind of, making it happen. There is a much deserved respect for that. So I think when I went to LA, I think it was like 4 years ago, like I had a pretty decent resume of credits and a great reel, but it was still hard to get indoors because people were like, well, you kind of snuck in the back door and I don't know if that's really the vibe.
I hate that.
And listen,
who cares, like what door you come in? If you got it and you're doing the thing, you're doing the thing.
And full disclosure, that's what I surmised. No one ever came out and said, this is why we're not seeing you. This is like how I would rationalize to myself going to bed at night. Why can't I get an agent? The LA agent was considerably harder to get. And it was actually parlayed through a manager. And it was like, writing emails to managers and agents and cold calling, which they don't like that either because they're like, they want to want you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm quite saying that right.
No, it's true.
Totally.
It's true.
So,
I had an agent yell at me once, literally on the phone, and told me to leave him alone. After he told, I never told you that story. Maybe for the mic check. But after he told me to follow up with him, and then he literally screamed at me on the phone and was like, do not contact me anymore. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
It's so funny. Sorry to interrupt you. Your story.
No. It's
not about me.
Got a lot of those stories myself. So it's nice to know I'm in good company.
Well, I tried like right before the pandemic, or maybe it was like, during the pandemic, I tried to, because I had a manager and I was trying to get an agent. And I had to reach out to someone that my friend recommended me to. And I've had a couple like co-stars, and the guy was like, yeah, you need to book a couple more. And I'm like, well, I can't really book a couple more without you. Like, it's like, I don't understand.
It makes no sense.
It truly is the catch-22. I mean,
you
need roles to get an agent. You need an agent to get roles. The more I kind of go into it, it's a lot of it. And this is true for every business out there, but it is a business of, who you know, and who can kind of put you on or who can recommend you. And it's a sticky business when you're calling your friend. You're like, hey, can you ask your agent if they're looking for somebody? It's humbling. I mean, maybe there's always this opportunity to be humbled, but it's it happens, and it happens kind of in weird ways, and in all the ways that I try, that's not how it happened for me. So it's.
Well, I'm going to gas you up a little bit because you've been working in Hollywood for what, over a decade, 15 years, you said, and you've appeared in some amazing films. Get On Up, Insurgent, One Night in Miami, television shows, Claws, Scream, Scream, which I was trying to watch. I love Scream. I love the Scream films. So I was trying to watch the series. Once I found out that you were in the second season, I didn't get there yet, though. It's so hard. Because work is so busy. But anyway, and of course, Sweet Magnolias. But I wanted to know, do you remember your first like really big audition, and like how did it go?
Well, I remember my first audition, which is just horrible. I'll talk to you about
ever.
Yeah, ever. It was for a film.
Tell us.
It was for a film called Deja Vu, and it's a Denzel Washington movie that they were shooting in New Orleans. And I had just gotten my agent, and she sent me the sides, which I had a film class by that point, so I kind of knew what.
You're like, what's a side?
Yeah, exactly. At first, I was like, a side of what?
Fries?
Rice and gravy? No. So I remember going into this office, and my agent was like, okay, so the casting director, she doesn't really like to shake hands. So, just go in there, do your thing, say your name, it'll be all right. I was like, okay, cool. And I, learned my lines, did everything I could to learn my lines anyway. And luckily there weren't a lot of lines to begin with. Learn my lines. It was like for a Coast Guardsman, like in the movie, the ferry explodes and then they have to figure out what happened. And, I went in, and it's with Denzel Washington, who's one of my favorite actors.
Oh my gosh,
and
it was
yeah.
It was like, okay, yes, sir, Captain. The ferry just exploded. We don't know what happened, and I'm pretty sure it was with that kind of emphasis. And then the casting director was like, "Oh, yeah, great, awesome. Thanks for coming in." And I was like, "Oh, thanks for having me." And I like walked up to her and stuck my hand out and was ready to shake her hand. And she looked at my hand and was like, "No."
She said no.
Yeah, she said no. And luckily, I've gotten to be good friends with this casting director later.
Oh, that's so fun.
I've talked to her about this experience, but it was mortifying. I was dying inside. Not to mention, it was a terrible audition. I hadn't prepared as much as I should have, and really just didn't know.
That she says no. Like,
she said no.
Not today. And like, that's pre-COVID. It's not even like a germ thing.
Yeah, I respect.
Well, I mean, maybe it
now.
is. Yeah, like a little elbow or a little like pound.
She's just like, no.
She's sorry. No, thank you. Not even a no, thank you. Just a no.
Oh, I was gonna say at least she like used her manners. We didn't even get a thank you.
I know. Where's that Southern manners, miscasting?
It was years later too, and I told her about this and in another casting session, which I was much more prepared for and didn't try to shake her hand. And she laughed about it.
So good.
It was great. That's kind of the resolution I needed to backfill the feelings that I had about that one.
Oh my gosh.
As far as auditions go, I mean, we started in the South a lot of on tape stuff, so it was an opportunity to kind of play. I think a lot of it is kind of gone on tape now because of the pandemic, but we got pretty savvy with it really quick because a lot of the casting, not all of them, but really, really stuck to taping early on so they could process things quicker. I miss going into rooms, to be honest. The access to tape is so nice because you can get a tape from, casting can get a tape from anywhere in America, from anybody, across social strata, and be able to do it. So it really opens up opportunities for everybody.
But there's something special about being in the room, right? It's like,
yeah.
And also, and the self tape, like how many do you do and then watch and then criticize yourself over and over, and then you're like doing the same thing for 2 hours, and then it's just trash, and eventually it's just trash.
It's true.
Actually,
I had a teacher that was like, you should always like say like, I'm gonna do 8 takes. Like set the number you're gonna do before you do them, because if you you can make yourself go crazy, like trying to do it better and better. But I never get to do that. I'm always like, okay, I'll do like 10, and I end up doing 20 still. So
yeah. I like the goal setting though. It's nice.
Yeah, right.
That's nice, right? So speaking of earlier when you were talking about how you are writing and you like to expand everything, I want to talk about the Lost Bayou. Bayou?
There you go.
Gosh, I said Lafayette right now. I'm not saying this right.
No.
So you you have to help me on my my twang.
You don't need much help. I'm telling
Thank you.
Aww.
Thank you. That's nice. I want to learn a little bit more about this. So you wrote, produced, and starred in it. And it was at the Tribeca Film Festival, which Jason and I are huge fans of. So can you tell us a little bit about that and like where you got the idea and the process to do it and then get it to Tribeca?
Sure.
Also,
so
congratulations on
thanks.
Tribeca. Huge.
That's huge.
Like
2019?
That sounds right. Yeah, it was pre-pandemic, so it was still an opportunity to be there and see everybody. And
amazing.
Yeah, we're fortunate. Again, all of this is luck. All of this is luck and fortune, and I think just kind of meets you where you are. So I'm lucky, blessed, fortunate, all of the above, to have the opportunities that I've had with this kind of thing. But it started with trying to make a movie for nothing, essentially, for low budget. And it was designing the kind of layout, the nuts and bolts of what the script was going to be with a limited box. It was like, okay, so you always go, can you shoot in one location? All right, what's the one location going to be? That part plus my co-writer and I, and then I developed it with the director as well. We sat down, we're all from the small towns in Louisiana, kind of that circulate Lafayette. We talked about like kind of what the story we could tell would be. And it, came down to the heritage and culture of Cajun country in South Louisiana. And so we looked at what we had around us, what was available. And we just so happened to have a houseboat accessible, and then a bayou and a landscape that could provide, I guess spectacle, because that was the other thing. We wanted to provide like a cinematic feeling to it.
Yeah, of course.
And then when it came time to design the story, it was dipping into the Cajun folklore of what faith healers are and how that particular culture sees them in that part of the world. And so we kind of designed it in that way. And normally that's not how all of the writing projects I've done have been. This was just a very special case because we knew we needed to make a movie for nothing. And so we kind of worked from the ground up. We had what we had and the story that we told. We knew we needed to have a limited number of cast members. And so we went about and started writing this piece, kept it under 90 pages. It was just a character piece. It was designed almost like a play. And so we really had to sharpen the dialogue. And I don't think we really sharpened it as much as we could have, but that's all right.
Next one.
Yeah.
Wait, was it your first feature though? That's amazing though.
First produced feature.
Yeah.
We'd written a lot of really terrible scripts before.
Yeah. But you made a film.
Yeah.
And you got to Tribeca on your first one. That's amazing.
Yeah. It was
amazing.
We were able to get into, so we raised money through Seed and Spark, which I can't
we love them.
They're so awesome. Yeah. Emily and company over there are just amazing. Highly recommend for all your fundraising needs.
Yes.
And then we were able to compete in like a competition they had at the time called Hometown Heroes. And the grand prize was $20,000 and then EP credit from the Duplass brothers.
What?
And so we, really put all the emphasis we had into running the campaign and raised $15,000, I think.
Wow.
That sounds right. And then, we're one of the 5 projects chosen for the finalists. We put together a pitch for the final. We didn't end up winning, but we kind of, in a weird way, we had to put all of our effort into it. So we put our best foot forward, and it forced us to make the best product we could.
That's amazing.
And so we were able to have all of this wonderful prep going into production. But we did get a grant from the Duplass brothers for $1,000 that they called the "Oh shit" grant.
Yes.
I love that.
And Mark's explanation was that it's, and when you're filming something, you always need an extra $1,000 lying around, because if you break a boat or, if one of your cameras falls in the water, it's like you got that "oh shit" money. But
that's so clever.
We were able to find some investors in New Orleans. And then we went out and we shot for 13 days in the swamp in South Louisiana on a houseboat, which is insane. I don't recommend shooting on water.
With the gators and the snakes still stayed away?
And it's when for the most part, luckily it was in February, so they're all hibernating.
Oh, hibernating, yeah.
Got it.
But the real trick was just that shooting on water. Like, you have to have boats if you're gonna like get off of the houseboat to shoot from. And then you can't really maneuver without moving the boat. And it's not like getting up and walking around on land. You have to move and you have to be on a boat. And the thing about boats, they will break. Even if you're doing nothing wrong, they will break.
No.
And so every boat broke. Like the engine will break. Not sink, luckily not.
Got it. I'm like, what do you mean snap in half? Like, what do you mean?
No.
He didn't make Titanic.
I'm thinking like wood boats, like going around with Rose and like the camera trying to get the shot and the waves.
Luckily, it was like a cadre of family and friends who had like bass boats and all these other kind of flat bottom boats and like motors. They just don't like being in water. Like for whatever reason, they're like, we don't operate all the time. So every boat broke. It was just a real pain in the butt to shoot, but I think ultimately gave us something visually that was really rewarding. So we shot for 13 days, had 2 days of pickups just because we had to get in the water. The water was too cold in February.
Yeah.
And then our director submitted a rough cut to, let's see, it was the, I'm going to blank on this. It's called Gotham now, but it was the, God, they're going to kill me. I can't remember the name of this.
We'll throw it into the notes at the end.
Yeah, it was the, Zach's awesome. I remember Zach. He's over there. He's running it.
Shout out to Zach, honestly.
Shout out to Zach Mandanak. He's fucking great. Sorry, probably can't curse. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
We think you can curse.
Okay. But yeah, we went to a lab for first-time filmmakers, and we were able to kind of learn through their mentors and facilities how to put a movie through post. I think we kind of knew a lot of it, but there's so much about when you go to market your film afterwards that we just didn't know and we didn't have access to. And so, we went 3 times to New York over the course of a year for a week at a time, and they did lab intensives for a week. And during one of those lab intensives, we were able to meet with a few representatives from film festivals across the country. And while we were there, we were able to meet with one of the programmers for Tribeca. And so we had an opportunity to kind of be like, here's what our thing is. It's funny because like as soon as somebody signs off on who you are, like everything else just kind of falls into place. And as much as I want to sit here and say like what we made is great and awesome and cool, and maybe that's true. Like it is a product of kind of being in touch with the right people who were able to put us in other places. And that's what it's all about. Yeah. So I think in the first place, a lot of it is just trying and then pushing that product to other people who hopefully can get you to the other people. And I mean, that sounds like a grim way to say it. Ultimately, you're making friends and colleagues along the way that you're going to be working with.
Totally.
So a lot of who we, were able to interact with throughout, we still remain friends and collaborators to this day.
And it's like a genuine connection, right? It's not like just like I'm schmoozing with you. Like it's
exactly, because I'm so terrible at schmoozing because ultimately I just want to talk about everything else. I don't want to talk about film.
Yeah.
And you can always like sniff those ones out. The people who are like in it for the wrong reasons, which I don't even know if that makes any sense, but I think you follow. Versus like we're all just trying to do the thing and we all can help each other. Going back to what you said earlier about like we're all just making a thing together because we love it.
Yeah.
And let's figure out how to work together and make magic.
Is it the independent filmmaker project? Is that what it is?
That's it.
Oh, okay. You were just Googling it.
I did. Can you tell? I was trying to be sly.
You got it. Thank you. You saved me, Jason. I'm going to get an angry email. That's not true.
Jason always saves me, so seems nice. Right. Day saver.
No. Too sweet.
No,
I love that. I love that. I love that so much. So I mean, because I'm a writer and I wanna be a filmmaker. I want to make a feature one day. I made.
You are a filmmator.
You can do it.
Yeah,
you can do it, buddy.
Thank you.
You really can. He already has made like 1 million films. I don't know what he's like. I want to be a filmmaker.
I know, but I want to make a feature. Like okay. I want to make a feature one day. It'll happen.
You just hear me yell at him. I'm like, you are.
I love it, Sam. Keep him accountable. Jeez. Come on, Jason.
I always have to tell him, like, let's go. You already do it. Just
thank you.
Take it up a notch. Okay. Sorry.
No, but I'm
going on mute so I don't talk over you like I just always do. Goodbye.
No, it's all good. I was just gonna say I admire like multi-hyphenates that can write and produce and create. And you were saying, or I read in your bio also, that you're an alumnus of the 2016 Blacklist Screenwriting Lab, and you were a quarterfinalist for the Nickel Fellowship, which is like the biggest screenwriting competitions like ever.
Yeah, we've gotten really lucky.
Yeah. But how do you balance like writing and then auditioning, like working as an actor, because you're a working actor who writes also?
I'll say this. No, it's not, because I think at my worst times, it's trying to find, reason to continue the creative process. And then you have to recognize that, I worked so many survival jobs again to get to the point where I could be able to do this for a living. And so balancing it becomes pretty easy when I realize how lucky I am. And I realize that the process is kind of what I'm in love with. And ultimately, whether it's a script, right now I'm working on a novel, which, oh my gosh, totally different beast. But the script ideally will lead to the experience of making the film. And that's kind of personally how I look at it. It's like I need that motivation to complete it. And luckily I have accountability because I write with somebody. But just understanding how lucky I am to be able to do it, both acting and writing, kind of pushes me to do it. And then I think, I don't know, this is kind of, maybe this is, romantic or, silly and saccharine, but like, I really do. I love telling stories. And I think the opportunity to do that, I've been working my whole life to do it. And then to not figure out a way to balance it, which realistically is, easy. It's just a matter of sitting down and doing the worst version and then making that better. To not figure out a way to do that and time to dedicate to do that is directly counter to everything I've set up for myself since I was, born, I guess. So but it's at times it's like, oh, I don't have anything to write. It's like, well, just write something. Write something.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of understanding how lucky I am, and I feel like that's a big part of what dictates how I go about this career in my life. So, yeah, I guess that's the answer.
That's
nice. Amazing. I love that.
I used to practice this, and I don't anymore. And what you just said has inspired me to. Again, I used to do something every day to further my creative career, whatever that is. So, like what you were just saying, like just write it, just do it. I'm lucky that I have like the platform to do this, or even the creativeness, the creative ability in me to do it. So just every day, whether you read a play, learn a new monologue, or write a page, and make a storyboard, whatever it is, do it. Watch a show. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's amazing because I've experienced something similar in an interview I read recently. I say recently, last 2 years. Leslie Odom Jr. talk about his creative engine. And it's essentially doing something every day to fulfill that creative engine. And it could be something like reading a book or like reading a chapter, going into your imagination, memorizing a monologue, painting a picture, but sustaining the creative engine enough to get you through the day in order to do it again the next day. And like that fulfillment, I think, while we all want to be like on TV and in film and getting paid to do it.
Right.
To sustain, that is so helpful. Even if it's learning a new trade or a craft.
Totally.
I'll never forget that. It's so great you brought that up, Sam. Because again, BroadwayWorld, I mean, Leslie, Mr. King of Broadway, man.
He is. Shout
out to that guy.
We're going to get him on here.
Yeah. Come on. Leslie, I know you're listening. So just shoot us an email. Come on. We'll definitely make a spot for you. No problem. I'm sure we can squeeze you in.
For sure.
Wait, did you have something to say, Hunter? I feel like I cut you off because I do that a lot.
That was it. I was building off of your conversation about just doing something to engage your creativeness every day.
Totally. And I feel like I have one more thing to say about that, and then we'll move on. As artists, when we find ourselves in depressions or maybe just not feeling it, funks is a better word. Thank you. it's because we are feeling bad for ourselves that, like, you know, Jason and I, we talk about this all the time. Like, why is this person at that level and what am I doing wrong or whatever? But when you find yourself doing it every day, it keeps you going, which will then get you to the job, which will then get you to the next level, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But exactly.
And you really, I'll say this, Sam. I mean, you can't underplay like just the doldrums of like not working either. It's terrible. Like I've had a lot, every actor has. And like, I feel like it's fun to talk about all the awesome things I've had the opportunity to do, but like it's also sucks. It sucks so much. And that's a part of it. And I feel like actors don't really talk about that enough in like interviews because nobody wants to talk about it. And I get it, but like that is the part of it. And that's unfortunately always going to be a part of it. And to
part
find
of the
that
job.
And it's you, when you get paid eventually, you get paid for the suckiness too.
Yeah.
It's like,
you're cashing on all the other shit that happened.
Yeah. And it's about just keeping it going and finding the things within you to keep it going. Yeah. Which circles back to what we were just saying.
It's almost like what helps me is I've found that I've got to be, this is going to sound weird, but I've got to be better than the material that I aspire to do. I have to be a more well-rounded person and the best version of myself in order to meet that stuff later. Because if 100%. I'm operating outside of that and it's that sexy indifference, but like the reality is like just being a better person, a more well-rounded person, experiencing life, walking through your survival job and taking all of it in, to be able to face that audition or that character when it comes, because that's all we can control. Unfortunately, it sucks.
It sucks. Yeah, it totally sucks, but like whatever. And then you make your own work and write your own things for your friends. Also,
and thank you for being so honest about that. It's like really, it's the other side of it. We don't really hear about. Like you're so right, and I love that you shared that.
And I get it. Nobody likes to talk about it, but it happens. So actors out there, it happens. It still will happen.
It is part of it. Great. So we do know we have the crummy parts when we're not working, but I do want to say, and we talked about this before we were recording, to take a big turn, I binged Sweet Magnolias all day today. All day. I keep wanting to say Steel Magnolias, and every time I say sweet, I'm like, wait, what did I just say? Did I say sweet or steel? So congratulations on being on that show for 2 seasons, which was pretty successful. Netflix show was like in the top 10, etc. So what do you think it is about this particular show and these stories that is so engaging to audiences to make it have the success that it has?
That's a really good question, and it's something that I feel like I could give 100 different answers for, just depending on what the day is. But I think it's ultimately it's a show with interpersonal relationships in a small stakes setting, meaning it's not Marvel. We're not out to save the world. It's hitting people kind of in the more everyday life situations that they face themselves in. And it's presenting it in a very aspirational way. It's a world that exists that I feel like humanity is kind of at its best. It's also got its worst, and I fictionalized Serenity. But it ultimately is about a show about people working on themselves and helping their fellow community members to work on themselves. It's people dealing with problems, divorce, heartbreak, romance, all the good things. It's a community show, and it's about what happens when people can come together and be the best versions of themselves, while at the same time putting in the work to be the best versions of themselves. And it's cathartic. You feel the pain, you feel the anguish. It's these. Again, I say small stakes. It's not saving the world. It's saving yourself. It's saving your fellow neighbor, that kind of thing. And it's kind of dressed in the aesthetic and the cinematography that it feels warm. It feels like home. Like when it's kind of like cliche looking home, like warmth, holiday feel almost. But the information that they're presenting in the show is again aspirational, and I feel like it's, again, watching the second season, it was just so wonderful because it reinforces like people working on themselves and wanting to be better, and then relying on the people in their lives to help them get there. And so I think
community.
Yeah, I think people relate to that. And there's also two ways to engage with it. You can watch it and like be really absorbed with the themes, or you can just kind of have it on and like kind of catch things here and there. It's a nice background too.
Yeah, I definitely was working while I had it on because it is like light. Yeah, totally. But I feel like I need to go back. I missed some key things that happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, no spoilers.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. Well, yeah, that's what I really love about it. Like it's homey and it's cozy. And I know that it's like spiritual, right? But I'm not spiritual at all. Like I mean, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious at all. And I know there's a lot of religious undertones to it, but I don't feel like I'm getting beaten over the head with it. You know, I feel like it just feels good. I'm like, I want to move to Serenity. Like I was low key on IMDb Pro trying to find out the casting director because I was like, I need to be on this show because I love it so much.
I'll put in a good word. I'll see what kind of pull I actually have.
Yeah, my best friend, Dr. Shannon Pittman, is like, you're going to get cast as a reverend on that show. I'm like, maybe not with this hair, but I'll be the new reverend in Serenity. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
I love your hair, Jason. I think you can get away with it, buddy.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
He has great hair.
You guys are so sweet. You guys are gassing me up so well today. Thank you.
I love that. You said that now twice, gassing up. I don't think I've heard you do that yet. I like it.
Thank you.
We're keeping it. We're keeping it.
We're keeping it.
Next, you guys gas me up. Just kidding. Next.
I mean, you're stunning. Samantha, you're stunning all the time. You're so funny.
It's the ring light.
Oh my gosh. Hunter, we're almost at the end of our interview. Oh, I can't believe it. But I guess I want to ask you, and I saw this picture of you wearing a Gambit t-shirt on Instagram. And it kind of made me think of this question. Do you have a dream job or a dream collaboration or dream role you like to play? Because I feel like, you know, this whole Southern Louisiana, like you got some Gambit in you, right?
I mean, keep going, Jason. Now you're gassing me.
Guys, I really have a question and I'm so sorry. And I have the document with all these questions. What is Gambit? What did you just...
Oh, he's from X-Men. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm embarrassed.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
He's the Cajun.
I didn't want to pretend like I didn't know.
Oh, no, it's okay. And I'm
Thank you. Thank you.
She's always honest. I love that.
Gassing me up. Gassing me up with the honesty.
Wonderful. You're just so curious, Sam. I love it.
So curious. Just want to be honest. And I'm a curious cat.
Honestly, that is the best trait any person can have is curiosity. Like genuine curiosity because it means you're engaging in a way. Anyway, I'm going to get off the pedestal, but I think it's wonderful, Sam.
Curiosity did not kill the cat.
It enlightened the cat. That's right. We're rewriting the saying.
Oh, I love that so much.
Okay, back to the question. Sorry for the total sidebar. Dream job.
Dream job, dream role, dream collaboration. Tell us all the things.
No, I mean, I think it changes day to day. Like I'll watch something on TV and be like, oh, I really want to work. Like, I was thinking about this today because I listened to an interview with him today. Denis Villeneuve, the director, I love his work. He just makes incredible films. He directed Dune. He directed, Blade Runner 2049.
Oh yes.
I think he's just an outstanding director, and like today I'm like, oh, I want to work with Denis. He's also Canadian French, and so I'm like, oh, we'll get along because we speak kind of derivatives of the same language. But no, Jason, to your point, I love Gambit. I grew up, small town kid from Louisiana, specifically the Raging Cajun. That was my college mascot. I mean, it was just like, custom fit. I think every kid in South Louisiana wants to be Gambit. And so growing up, that was it. And now they're making every X-Men movie and Marvel property under the sun. So I'm like, why not? Of course I want to play Gambit. That would be incredible. So, Bob Chapek, if you're listening, get the casting going.
Yeah,
he's definitely listening.
He's definitely listening. Yeah, he's not busy at all.
He's definitely listening to our podcast. BroadwayWorld.
We're gonna manifest that for you. We're gonna put that out there. That's gonna happen.
I love it, Jason.
Put it in the show notes, Jason.
Yeah,
that's right. What is Gambit?
I'm like, guys, I really have a question.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Well, it's cool.
I have no idea.
So he's a thief too. He's from New Orleans, but he's a Cajun. His power is like he can charge objects with like kind of energy, like. And so they in the comics they glow, and you could throw it and essentially it'll explode, and he throws cards, so he's a poker player as well.
Yeah.
And
he gets that cool like staff.
Yeah, he swings around a stick, and he's just kind of a son of a gun. Like he's always on a snide, sarcastic comment, and really just kind of is the gray superhero. A lot of these, Marvel characters, but he's one of the X-Men that is, you never really know if he's doing something that's good or something that's bad, because he tends to be out for his own personal
mysterious.
And so that was a lot of fun growing up, like with that representation, like on screen, and being like, I want to be Gambit. And so that's pie in the sky, Gambit, I'm coming for you.
Yes.
It's gonna happen.
I know, right? You're gonna look back at this interview.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
We'll have to do a follow-up interview once it happens. Yes. Say, hey guys, we all manifested this together.
We did it, y'all.
We did it, y'all. Okay. We have one more question, and then we have a really fun game. So I hope you're ready. Okay. In season 1, we had one of our guests say that if all of his artistic success went away overnight, he would feel fine and feel a sense of happiness going back to waiting tables because he genuinely enjoyed that survival job. Do you have a survival job that you feel that way about?
Good question. So in college, I was roommates with a landscape architect, horticulturalist. And so really what that means is I helped him cut a lot of grass and plant a lot of plants. And also design, like landscaping design. And as rigorous as that can be in the summer heat, that was always such a great job to incorporate aesthetic and also, knowledge about what the plant is going to do when it's in the shade, and what it's going to do in the sun, and what it's going to look like when it's in bloom, and how it's going to come back in the spring. So I think I'd like to be I go back to my college days and be like that landscape architect, because that was really incorporated what I love to do. And also, like, at the end of the day, you're using your hands, you're tired at the end of the day. There's a sense of accomplishment. You can cut the grass and you can see the immediate results of your hard work.
Yeah, this is what I did today.
Yes. So I think I would go back to that. Yeah. I know, as much as I claim I'm running away from the sugarcane, it seems like it's pulling me further back. But yeah, that's a great question, Sam. Wow.
Yeah.
We always like to bring it back to survival jobs, Start with survival jobs, end with survival jobs. That's also nice, with the plants and stuff. There's a sense of creativity there.
It is.
Right? And it's also like a living thing, and it's, I don't know, again, the romance and saccharine part of me is just, there's a responsibility there, and there's just this idea that you're helping create, this ecosystem. And I'm gonna see myself out, guys. This was fun now.
Things are coming. You're just gonna fully skip the game. First time that's happened.
No games.
I'm not playing the game.
You keep talking about sugarcane. I haven't had my parents are Jamaican, so we used to go to Jamaica a lot. And I remember, like, as a kid, like having like sugarcane as a kid and just like biting into it and like, you brought me back. You brought me back when I read your bio.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful.
It's very juicy and it kind of fibrous. It kind of
yeah.
Again, now something else I don't know what you guys are talking about. Great.
No, it's just like, it's a plant and it's very sweet. It's like, it tastes like sugar. Yeah.
Subtropical
Sugar
climates, it's stalks, it's big stalks, and you have to harvest it and you have to burn it too. It's here I go. Sugarcane 101, but it's a lot of sugar comes from that, specifically I think brown sugar, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a great supplier of sugar. You'd swear I was working for Big Sugarcane, but I promise I'm not.
We should play a drinking game with whoever listens to this episode every time the word sugar gets said.
That'd be fun.
Just wasted on rum. So you bring around sugar.
I love when everything comes right back.
That's right. Thank you, BroadwayWorld.
Thank you.
It's game time.
It is game time. Jason, do you want to explain the game?
Yes, it's very simple, Hunter. Since you have worked on an amazing popular Netflix show, we want to know how much you know about Netflix in general. So we got some Netflix history and facts. So let's see how much you know about the parent company.
I might get fired.
There's a lot of multiple choice.
Okay, great.
And then there's a bonus, which I'm pretty sure you'll kill.
You can always buy a lifeline. A little wink, wink. We'll give you something.
I love it. Throwing it back to Melanie.
Yeah, I've been cheating so far in season 2, which is only one other episode. So maybe I'll keep up the cheating. Who knows?
Okay. First question is true or false? First question, true or false? Netflix still has DVD rental services.
True.
True, yeah. You can access Netflix DVD rentals by paying a separate subscription. Each DVD rental will cost around $7.99 a month or an additional $2 for Blu-ray. Wow.
I don't even have a DVD player anymore.
I love that they still do that. I was on top of it. I mean, I signed up right away as soon as Netflix was available because those DVDs were available.
Do you remember that?
Amazing.
I remember trying to watch Lost, and I would have you have to wait for the next one to come.
And then you get the DVD and it's scratched because the person before you had scratched it up. And you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta get another one.
Yeah. Again, something else I have no idea you guys are
talking
about.
You don't remember that?
Oh,
No.
cute.
I don't think I got Netflix until Orange is the New Black is my first memory.
It's good.
Well,
That's my first memory. Thank you. Okay, next question. This is multiple choice, so don't panic. What percentage of Netflix users share an account? A, 50%, B, 90%, C, 75%, or D, 66%?
I want to say 75%.
Unfortunately, it is D, 66%.
Oh, it's lower than I thought.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. But I feel like most people would guess higher too. I have 2 different, or maybe even 3, like my TV, my laptop, whatever else.
Yeah.
Different people's.
I'm the one that pays for the Netflix. But my sister has the Hulu.
Me too. I've got my mom and my sister on it, and it's they like to leech off of me. So shout out mom and sister, thanks.
Shout out to mom and sister.
They better be watching your show.
I was just gonna say, if you're paying for the account, I hope they watch.
Come on, guys, just let it run in the background. I don't care if you watch it.
Yeah, get those residuals.
Right?
Actually.
2015 case study stated that binging Netflix correlates with blank. There's 4 options. A, creativity. B, depression. C, productivity. Or D, hunger.
I'm going to say hunger.
Oh.
It's wrong.
Depression. It's depression.
Depression. Oh my
I know.
God.
Isn't that sad?
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, am I depressed? Do you guys think I'm depressed? Because I literally... Hunger is a good one though, right? Because you're binging.
You're snacking and...
Speaking from experience, it's like, all right, when's the food coming? When am I going back to the refrigerator?
Yeah.
Like, are you still watching? It's like, am I still eating? Is the question.
Are you still watching?
Yes.
Exactly.
Especially Donna Sue's her freaking food on the show. I'm just like, ooh.
That's right.
Whoa.
They sell a cookbook too for Sweet Magnolias for all inquiring minds. Yeah, they do.
Oh, shout out everyone!
Yeah,
I think
it was related to the novels when they were published a couple years back, and I think it's seen a resurgence and maybe added a couple recipes since the show.
Fun.
Okay, definitely getting that.
Good to know. We'll drop it in the show notes. Okay, what was the original name of Netflix? A, Bestflix. B, Dribble. C, Stroofly. D, Kibble.
Thank God they went with Netflix. Jeez. I'm gonna go with Kibble.
Great.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding.
That was a really good guess. Yeah. Did you not see us? We were going D.
Yeah. And that was the most entertaining option, too. If I was going to get it wrong, I was really going to flail. Kibble.
Yeah. During the early days of the company, the management team had difficulty picking a suitable name for the brand. So co-founder Mark Randolph suggested the name Kibble as a temporary name until they came up with the real thing.
Wow.
Okay, Mark.
Okay, Mark. I don't know. Sometimes when we do these games, I'm like, are these right? Like they're just Google, anyone can put anything on the internet, So this is from it was 250 facts about Netflix.
That's amazing. I can't believe there's 250.
Yeah, it might have been more. I'm not sure. Okay.
Last question before the bonus. Tiger King generated 500,000 viewers. Oh, I'm sorry. True or false? Tiger King generated 500,000 viewers within the first 10 days of its release.
False.
500,000. Yes. 34 million.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Dang. That was like height of pandemic too. People are like, oh,
yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You're like,
that's crazy.
Unreal. That show, crazy. Okay, this is a bonus, and let's make a rule. Jason, do you agree? If you get the bonus, you get an automatic 100.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready, Hunter?
I think I am.
Okay. On the Netflix hit show, Sweet Magnolias, what are the names of the 3 lead actresses?
Oh, do you want their character names or their real names?
Their real names.
Okay, so Heather Headley, Brooke Elliott, and Joanna Swisher Garcia.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Thank God. There was a second there where I was like, what if I forget? That's amazing.
Good job.
100. In conclusion, you get 100%.
Yes. All right.
Look at you, Hunter.
So when does the check arrive? When do I get the check?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll have to ask BroadwayWorld. That's where the check.
I want like the big one too, like this. Okay. You know, the one that they give you at the golf course. And they're like,
maybe it will look. Yeah, it'll look like the BroadwayWorld
logo. Maybe like 5
logo.
cents. I don't care. This is a big one though.
Those cost a lot of money, right? According to The Office.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they probably cost like $200. So yeah. I'll send you the money. You send me the check, and then
Perfect.
There we go.
Perfect. And then we'll just put it on Instagram, and then everyone wins.
That's right.
It's not real unless it's on Instagram, right?
Very true. Very true.
This was so fun. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. This was wonderful to talk to y'all.
Oh, it was so nice talking to you.
Wait. Before you go, you have to tell us where everyone can find you and where can everyone find Lost Bayou to watch. Okay. Yeah, tell us all the things.
That was going to be my question. Thank you, Jason.
Oh, I'm sorry. I cut
you off. No, you didn't. I wasn't speaking. I was thinking it. You read my brain. You read my brain.
So I'm on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, that's right. I think my handle is I am Hunter Burke, which, wow, original, amazing. That's what I came up with, guys.
Perfect.
I'm a writer. And then Lost Bayou, I believe, is available to stream on like iTunes or Amazon. I don't know if it's anywhere right now for free, but I think it's like 99 cents or $1 or something like that. And if you really want to watch it, I'll Venmo you $1. So.
Yeah, so will we.
Yeah.
So will we. At Sammy Toots is my Venmo. Request it.
I love it. Put it on blast.
Yeah,
let's gas this girl up.
Yeah. Gas me up. Jason, can you tell everyone where to find us? See, you were gonna, and then I jumped in.
Yeah,
like usual.
You can find us on all the things, or on Instagram and Twitter at Survival Jobs Pod, and on Facebook at Survival Jobs Podcast. And you can follow Samantha at Sammy Toots on Instagram, and myself, Jason A. Coombs, on all the things as well.
All the things. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Hunter. This was amazing.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Hopefully we'll meet IRL one of these days.
I would love that.
Like the kids say. Like the kids say, IRL, you know?
Thank you.
Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you.
This is awesome.